How does Apple actually make billions beyond the iPhone when the phone still dominates every product launch, every queue, and almost every conversation about the company? The answer is that Apple no longer behaves like a business that simply sells expensive devices. It uses those devices to build a giant economic system in which hardware creates the customer, software keeps the customer, and services collect recurring revenue long after the original sale. The scale is easy to underestimate. Apple reported about $416 billion in revenue for fiscal 2025. Then, in the December quarter of fiscal 2026, revenue reached $143.8 billion, while the installed base passed 2.5 billion active devices. In the following March quarter, revenue was $111.2 billion, and services set another record. Those numbers show why the iPhone remains crucial, but they also reveal something more important. Each active device is a doorway into several other businesses. Start with the obvious hardware beyond the phone. Apple sells computers, tablets, watches, earbuds, headsets, home devices, accessories, and extended protection plans. A customer may enter through one product, but the design encourages the next purchase. A laptop works smoothly with a phone. A watch depends heavily on the phone. Earbuds switch between devices. A tablet can become a second screen. None of those links forces another purchase, yet every convenient connection raises the cost of leaving. This is the first layer of Apple's real advantage. The ecosystem turns separate products into complements. A normal electronics company must win the customer again every time it launches a new category. Apple can sell a new device to someone who already trusts the operating system, owns compatible accessories, stores data in the cloud, and understands the interface. The marketing cost of the next sale becomes lower, while the perceived value of the whole collection becomes higher. Hardware still produces enormous cash, but it also creates a recurring relationship. Once a device is activated, Apple can earn through cloud storage, music, television, games, news, fitness, payment services, warranties, advertising, and commissions on some digital transactions. A single customer might pay only a few dollars each month. Multiply that by an installed base above 2.5 billion active devices, and tiny monthly payments become one of the largest service businesses on Earth. The App Store is a central piece of that machine. Apple provides distribution, payment processing, discovery, security reviews, and access to a wealthy global audience. Developers keep most of the money, and Apple says that more than 90% of commerce facilitated by the ecosystem pays it no commission. But on eligible digital goods and subscriptions, the platform can collect a percentage. Even a small share of a massive digital marketplace can produce substantial high-margin revenue. In 2025, the App Store averaged more than 850 million weekly users. Apple also said developers had earned more than $550 billion through the platform since 2008. That does not mean Apple booked all commerce as its own revenue. It means Apple controls a valuable toll road between hundreds of millions of users and millions of digital products. The economic power comes from owning the trusted gateway, not from creating every app that travels through it. Cloud storage is another quiet engine. A customer takes more photos, stores more messages, backs up more devices, and eventually reaches the free storage limit. The upgrade looks small compared with the price of the hardware, yet cloud subscriptions renew automatically and require little physical inventory. The service also becomes more useful as the customer owns more devices, because the same account synchronizes files, photos, passwords, and settings across the ecosystem. Entertainment adds more recurring layers. Music subscriptions generate monthly fees. Video subscriptions turn Apple into a content buyer and distributor. Games, news, podcasts, books, and fitness expand the number of reasons to remain inside the account. Apple One then bundles several services together. Bundling can reduce cancellations because a customer may use different products at different times, while the total package feels cheaper than buying each service separately. Payments create a different model. Apple Pay does not require Apple to become the merchant selling every product. Instead, the company places its secure payment technology between the customer, the bank, and the retailer. Apple said the service generated more than $100 billion in incremental merchant sales globally during 2025 and prevented well over $1 billion in fraud. Apple's exact economics vary by agreement, but the strategic value is clear. The wallet makes the device more useful in everyday commerce. Advertising is less visible but increasingly important. Search ads inside the App Store allow developers to pay for discovery at the exact moment users are looking for software. Apple can also earn from search distribution agreements and other advertising placements. This business benefits from first-party access to a large, engaged audience, but it also creates tension because Apple promotes privacy as a core product advantage while operating an advertising platform that regulators and competitors watch closely. Then there is AppleCare and related protection. Insurance-like plans convert the fear of an expensive repair into an additional purchase. The company receives payment upfront or through recurring installments, while actual repair costs depend on how many customers make claims. Protection plans can improve customer confidence and keep repairs inside authorized channels. They also extend the commercial relationship beyond the day the device leaves the store. The stores themselves perform several jobs. They sell products, provide technical support, offer training, process repairs, and act as premium showrooms. Their prime locations are expensive, but they reduce dependence on third-party retailers and give Apple control over presentation, pricing, and customer data. A store is not merely a place to move inventory. It is a physical service center that reinforces trust in products customers may use for years. This combination helps explain the difference between product and service margins. In fiscal 2024, Apple reported a gross margin of roughly 37% for products and nearly 74% for services. The exact mix changes over time, but the basic economics are powerful. Hardware requires components, assembly, shipping, packaging, and inventory. Digital services can often add another paying user at a much lower incremental cost, although content, infrastructure, developer payments, and regulatory compliance are far from free. That higher margin changes the quality of Apple's revenue. A one-time device sale can fluctuate with launch cycles and consumer budgets. A monthly subscription is smaller but more predictable. Thousands of millions of predictable payments can stabilize cash flow between hardware launches. Investors therefore watch services not only for growth, but because every dollar of service revenue can be worth more in gross profit than a dollar of product revenue. The model also strengthens pricing power. Apple does not need to compete only on processor speed or camera specifications. It can sell convenience, familiar software, synchronized data, trusted payments, integrated accessories, and access to purchase content. A competing phone may cost less, but switching can mean moving photos, replacing accessories, learning a new interface, and losing some seamless connections. The ecosystem turns inconvenience into customer retention. However, that retention can become a risk. Regulators in the United States and Europe have challenged app distribution rules, payment restrictions, default settings, and platform commissions. If laws force Apple to open more parts of the ecosystem, developers may gain alternative payment channels, and customers may gain more choice. Apple could still benefit from its devices, but the tolls collected at certain digital gateways might decline. The company also depends on external partners. Most devices are assembled through a global supply chain. Advanced chips require specialized manufacturers. Content services need studios, musicians, publishers, sports rights, and developers. Search-related revenue can depend on agreements with another technology giant. Apple controls the customer experience, but it does not control every factory, network, license, or regulatory decision supporting that experience. Geography adds another layer of risk. Apple earns revenue around the world, but reports in dollars. Currency movements can reduce reported sales. Trade restrictions can raise component costs or limit access to markets. Concentrated manufacturing creates exposure to disruptions. In July 2026, Apple announced a commitment expected to exceed $30 billion for custom silicon and wireless components produced with Broadcom in the United States, showing how expensive supply chain diversification can be. Innovation is also costly. Apple spent tens of billions of dollars annually on research and development, even before the newest wave of artificial intelligence investment. Some projects never become successful products. Others require years of engineering before generating revenue. The company must keep improving hardware while funding software, chips, cloud infrastructure, content, and new interfaces. A mature ecosystem becomes safer only if it continues to feel modern. There is also a delicate balance between monetization and trust. Add too many subscription prompts, advertisements, or fees, and the ecosystem begins to feel like a tax. Raise prices too aggressively, and customers reconsider which services they truly need. Restricted competitors too heavily, and regulators intervene. Apple's most valuable asset may not be a phone or an app store. It may be the belief that the entire system is simpler, safer, and worth paying more for. So what happens if iPhone sales slow? Apple would still face a serious problem, because the phone remains the largest entry point into the ecosystem. Fewer new devices eventually mean fewer potential service customers, but the installed base gives the company time. More than 2.5 billion active devices can continue producing subscriptions, repairs, app transactions, advertising opportunities, and accessory sales even when annual hardware growth becomes uneven. This is why the business beyond the iPhone is not truly separate from the iPhone. The phone starts many customer relationships, but the profits spread across a network of products and services. Hardware creates distribution, the account creates identity, the operating system creates habit, the store creates commerce, the cloud creates dependence, the bundle creates recurring revenue. Each layer makes every other layer more valuable. The flywheel also improves Apple's negotiating position. A developer wants access to customers who are willing to spend. A bank wants its cards inside a wallet used every day. A media company wants placement on devices already sitting in living rooms and pockets. An accessory maker wants compatibility with a large installed base. Apple can connect these partners to users while setting many of the technical and commercial rules. That influence attracts more products and services, which makes the ecosystem more useful, which attracts more customers. The cycle does not eliminate competition, but it makes scale reinforce itself. Cash generation gives the company another advantage. It can finance enormous research programs, secure long-term component supplies, purchase content, open stores, and return capital to shareholders at the same time. Smaller rivals may design an excellent device or app, yet struggle to support the entire surrounding system for years. Apple's greatest economic trick is therefore not selling one device at a premium. It is turning ownership into a long-term sequence of purchases without making each purchase feel like part of the same transaction. A customer buys a phone, then storage, then earbuds, then a watch, then protection, then a music plan. Years later, the original hardware sale has become an expanding stream of revenue. That model is extremely profitable, but it is not invincible. It relies on customer satisfaction, developer support, regulatory permission, supply chain execution, and constant innovation. If any one layer weakens, the others can absorb some damage. If trust across the whole system weakens, the ecosystem itself becomes less powerful. So, how does Apple actually make billions beyond the iPhone? By using the iPhone as the front door to a much larger economic house. The devices attract users, the ecosystem keeps them connected, and high-margin services earn repeatedly from that connection. The iPhone may still be the star of the show, but the business behind the curtain is a platform designed to collect value from almost everything the customer does next.